How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
Well, everybody, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. You bet, folks, it is on. Things are breaking, things are snapping, and we're seeing who the enemy is. And remember, you are the enemy. Okay, I mean, let's just put one thing to bed before we get into who is the enemy and who's at war. Right? You get a trans man who's Jewish and draws cartoons of himself talking to Satan in the mirror, who is telling him to kill. And he uses a gun to kill people. And a church, a Catholic church, which is Christian. And the news and the idiots out there claim this is an anti-Semitism attack from a white man. Wait a minute, I thought we're supposed to recognize it as a girl because that's what it wanted to be. And even though it had some anti-Israel stuff written on its equipment, a synagogue and Jews were not attacked. But the Jews want to play victims on this one. This is just getting ridiculous, folks. Who are the enemies?
There are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore. Republicans are the biggest threat to democracy.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people.
Yes, they are. They're at war with us people. And it's an economic war, it's a military war, it's a social war, it's a sexual war, it's a psychological war, all manner of warfare. Oh, good God, these people they're that stupid, folks. And speaking of stupid, the female board member at the Federal Reserve, Trump fired her because she claimed 2 houses in a 2-week period were her primary residence, and she ensured she got the best, lowest interest rate for herself on both houses by committing fraud, lying. Pretty sure that's perjury, a felony, I think. So Trump fires her, and she says, "You can't fire me," and she sues him. But not once in the lawsuit does she say that she didn't commit fraud or didn't claim 2 houses as her primary residence. Primary. Prime means 1. But you know what her defense was? I'm the first black woman to be on the Federal Reserve Board. Well, great. Congratulations. You're in the history books. You're also the first black woman to be fired for fraud. Good golly, these people are that stupid. It's everywhere, though, folks. It's not just the Federal Reserve Board. It's everywhere. In fact, that judge said, Alligator Alcatraz down in Florida, you have done everything wrong because I'm a judge and I know better. And it has to be emptied out in a few more days. So an Obama judge orders a preliminary injunction. Well, I tell you what, I think DeSantis should get a preliminary injunction on their preliminary injunction and stop it. Yeah, I think they ought to do that. And then give them a preliminary, go fuck yourself, judge. These judges are worthless, politicized scum. And I pray I never end up in front of one of them. I'm not a criminal. I'm not committing fraud. I'm not committing mortgage fraud. I'm not trafficking children like Jeffrey Epstein. All right, I'm not doing anything that Democrats are doing. I'm not dressing up as a girl and going and killing anyone. Right? No. But that's what they are doing, folks. Look at what they are doing. They are just out of their fucking minds, retarded. Once again, watch the movie Idiocracy. Hold on as long as you can through the movie. Watch all that you can, because it is a documentary on Democrat mentality. It's about a guy who gets sent forward in time in a time machine, and he ends up in a world full of Democrat stupidity. It's incredible. Anyways, Alligator Alcatraz, do not close it. Tell this judge to go fuck themselves. You know what? I mean, get this. I think DeSantis and Trump should go to a local county judge and get a preliminary injunction against the federal judge for overstepping their bounds, not having jurisdiction in the state of Florida. Florida is not Washington, D.C. Florida is not federal territory. Is it? Now, we've got major new details, folks. Oh, you bet. Right? You bet we do. We've got major new details. The trans Minneapolis Catholic school shooter had some regrets. Oh, surprise, surprise, surprise. That's right. That's right. The little boy who wore his little piggy tails, right? He regretted transitioning. He was tired of being a girl, and he hated that he brainwashed himself. Typical dumb fuck idiot. But I tell you what, I bet way back in school, because he's, 22-ish? Maybe he just identifies as 22. I bet back in school, he was convinced by his teachers and by the media that he was a girl. It's funny. These men don't realize how much work it is to be a girl. Got to shave your legs constantly and your armpits. Got to do makeup every day, makeup on, then makeup off. Hairstyling, the expense of that, fingernails. It's hard to be a girl. I don't want to be a girl. Holy shit. And this fucking fruitcake didn't even have to have a period. I know that Tampon Timmy Walls says that the trans people need, well, tampons. But literally why? They're so fucking stupid, folks. This kid, this moron that murdered innocent children, injured innocent children, shot up a church. Typical Democrat, communist, dumb fuck. They're not going to stop, folks. They're not going to stop. In fact, they feel like Trump has attacked them. You know what they need to hear? And there's been a good call for this all day long. In fact, all night long. The call through social media was transgenderism needs to be classified in the DSM manual as a mental illness, a mental disorder, right? And they should be denied access to firearms because they are mentally deranged. That puts them in the category of incompetent. Unbelievable, folks, that they're being allowed to get away with what they're being allowed to get away with. But that is the left. I think today it should be Retard Thursday. We've already covered several retards. The dumb bitch on the Federal Reserve who never denied committing fraud but said, well, I'm the first black woman. I should be allowed to stay. See, who else have we covered, right? Dumbass shooter. Alligator Alcatraz judge. How about a butt pirate? Get this guy, Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis. Daskalakis. Well, he is a Blue Oyster Bar butt buddy. Everyone remember the Blue Oyster Bar from Police Academy, the joke, right? The two kind of white supremacist police recruits in order to hide from the crowd. They kept going and getting sucked into the Blue Oyster Bar, where large homosexual hairy men wearing leather assless chaps and the funny little leather hats looking like they're Judas Priest band members, right? And that's exactly what this guy looks like. Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis worked for the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, and he resigned today because, of course, the director of the CDC was fired after less than a month. Several people, is it 3 or up to 4, man? That doesn't matter. They're resigning now. So Dr. Dimitri, look at me, I belong to the Blue Oyster Bar. Daskalakis has resigned as the director of the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases. What? Yeah, it's another left-wing flaming homosexual who likes to take pictures of himself wearing his leather harnesses and put them out on the social media. Apparently, he was literally the monkeypox spokesman for the CDC. You can't make this shit up, folks. Just like we had that bald-headed, lipstick-wearing, woman's clothing fruitcake who is in charge of nuclear waste disposal for the Biden administration, ended up getting arrested for stealing women's clothes at an airport twice, but it was felony theft because, well, he stalked wealthy women and stole their shit. In any event, folks, this leather-clad butt pirate, Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis, he quit. Good. Fuck off, buddy. He is a cliche queer, a Freddie Mercury mustachioed dipshit. And I'm done with the LGB pedo snivelers. They're stepping it up, folks. I hope that you have the courage to step up as well and fight. Because if you don't step up, you're going to get stepped on. And I'm going to give you one example. And this should serve as an example for all things freedom and all things keeping government in its box. Underage girls in England, Ireland, and Scotland. The government is allowing illegals to rape them. The government is allowing illegal rape gangs. They know who they are. They know where they live. They know what they're doing, and they will not arrest them because it looks bad. Nobody is stepping up. Well, I have to, let me take that back. Fathers are not stepping up. The people of England, Scotland, and Ireland are finally standing up and marching. They're putting out flags, right? And they're stepping up and they're getting in Muslims' faces and telling them no more. But when you get down to it, what do the little girls have for protection if daddy's not right there? Only themselves. And thankfully and fortunately, that little girl had an axe and a knife. She had an axe and a knife to protect her and her sister. She stepped up. If you do not step up, you will be made a victim. If you don't speak up, you will be made a victim. And that little girl over in Scotland who pulled a knife and a hatchet, an axe out, she stepped up, she defended herself, she got weapons, and she spoke up and yelled at this scumbag from another country. We've all got to step it up. And we need to see, recognize, acknowledge, and then attack those who would attack our freedoms. You see that little girl and all of them who are being harassed, stalked, kidnapped, raped, gang raped, and put out for prostitution in the hundreds of thousands. In little old England, the United Kingdom, hundreds of thousands of girls are being victimized. This is what government will allow to happen. You have to step up. You have to wake up. You have to know who the enemy is and who's doing this. And get prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Folks, it's Thursday. Get your questions down below. Ooh, man. Oh, he's back with a vengeance, and he's in the moderator's chair. Questions, comments, thoughts, predictions. What is it that people need to do to make government realize they serve us? Right? Ideas. I'm all about ideas and solving problems, not just bitching about them, but solving them. How do we get the government to obey? How do we get the government to limit itself the way we told it to be limited with this United States Constitution and all the state How do we do that? How do we get government to do its job? Ideas, right? So yelling and screaming in social media, that has an effect. But how about other ideas? I'm open to them, by golly, I really am. Let's see, voting, that hasn't worked. Going on the mainstream media, well, they won't let you on. Oh, they won't let you on. Jake Tapper, I'm sorry, the retard known as Jake Tapper on CNN, he was upset. He wants people to use the proper pronouns when describing the satanic Jewish transgender mass murderer. You know, the gunman who murdered Catholic children. That's right. We should respect the mentally deranged criminals. That's what mainstream media wants, and that's why people are done with mainstream media. So even if you were allowed to go on there to try and make a difference, no one's watching anymore. Unbelievable. We need to use their pronouns properly. Why? They have a mental problem, right? They have a disorder. Even if you join them in their disorder, you're still a bad guy. Anytime they get upset, they blame you and demand, well, utter behavioral perfection so that they can be happy. Right? That is in itself a mental disorder, expecting everyone else to make you happy. I tell you, folks, the mentally deranged class of people are violent murderers of children and churchgoers everywhere. As far as I'm concerned, they can all go to hell. It's not my circus and not my monkeys with these LGB pedos. They need to just get the fuck out of here, but they're not. I mean, I don't understand. I've done a lot of difficult things in life. Not just getting up at 5 and going to work all day in the sun and coming home. Not that. Not just being a dad, right? There's always hard decisions to make. But how did this fruitcake, who went to a doctor and said, I think I'm a girl, I want to cut my dick off, give me some drugs, and I'm going to start growing my hair like a girl, and then decide years later I don't like it, have conversations with Satan in the mirror. Talk about selling your soul, huh? See, they weren't happy with themselves as a boy, this particular one, and all of them basically. And same with the girl trans shooter that killed Christian children in not Illinois. It was Louisville. They're not happy with themselves, who they are, and so they try and recreate themselves in an image they want to be seen as. And then they're not happy there. So they're unhappy with all of this. They know what they're doing is wrong. We could see it in this fruitcake's writings because they released the transcripts, or rather the video. It was long enough for everyone to capture it and then have it translated from Cyrillic into English. The fruitcake, right, knew it was wrong, but it couldn't help but fantasize. Now, understand the difference between fantasy and reality. This person says they fantasized about killing. So they know it's a fantasy. They know reality says don't kill. But they can't help but fantasize. Why? This is where the psychology books come in handy, folks. This is where years of sitting in a desk, reading stupid-ass books and taking the test pays off. The reason is reality hurt. I'm an idiot. I cut my dick off. I'm not happy about it. How do I make myself feel better? Fantasy releases dopamine. So fantasizing about killing helped these people feel better about themselves. They just feel better, period. Oh, it's happy. I feel happy thinking about killing others because they're mad at themselves. They want to punish others, and it makes them feel good just to fantasize. Ultimately, they get guns, they get ammunition, they get a plan together, because all of that fantasizing and turning that fantasy into their reality helps mask their reality, their painful reality, self-loathing, self-hatred, self-destruction. And they mask that with a fantasy that gives them a dopamine drop in their brain. Remember, they've got mental disorders. They're on all kinds of hormones. They're on antidepressants. Their brain is already a sizzling dish of scrambled excrement. And then they fantasize about killing, and it makes them feel better. They get guns, and it makes them feel better because that increases the fantasy. And then ultimately, and I don't know how they do this because it's evil, but they get to execution of their plan. They show up at a mall, at a school, at a church, and they start killing. That makes them feel really good. They know they're going to die. They know they should die. Right? Why should we respect these people? CNN, Jake Tapper, you want us to use their pronouns properly? These are a bunch of evil, evil people. Right? The guy at the beginning, Republicans are evil. We're at war with these people. Who's at war with who? And then talking about the idiots, I'm sure Uman's going to have something to say about Trey Gowdy and other politicians who wanted to talk about gun control. How about drug control? How about psychological protection for children instead of psychological abuse at the hands of disgusting doctors? And remember, transgenderism and the concept of it, along with transgender surgery, was developed by, you guessed it, Israelis. It's part of their belief system that you can be gay and a transdresser and a drag queen and a transgender. This is who they are, folks. There's actually a religious group that promotes these ideas. What do you think these doctors are? Are they the good guys? I don't think so. I don't think so. I wish there was a race card I could play. Oh, every day is white boy day, I guess. Is it white boy day, man? I don't know. All right, we've got an American hero. Right, the guy's name was John Ridat. This is the guy who was in Germany, and 2 women were being harassed by a violent, retarded Muslim wannabe rapist. And so he decided to stick up for these 2 German women and got his face slashed. It's terrible. Terrible. I just discovered today that he was a model, a handsome guy. Now, this is what I found good. This is his quote. "My modeling career is over, but I would do it again." That is great. He knows he's lost it. Well, I guess there's nothing that can change that anyways. But he would do it again. Standing up and doing the right thing, taking action, even if you know you're going to get injured, right? You know, I guess being handsome and a model doesn't make one tough, you know, like in the movies. But being prepared, being trained, this guy did great. He got his face cut up, but he protected people. But soon, I think all of us will have to face similar situations, and we need to be ready. So once again, I call on everyone, get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Get prepared and get trained. Take the time it takes to get trained. Oh, I tell you, folks. Jen Psaki, remember her? Oh, yeah. Jen Psaki, former White House spokesfreak, called out for her blatant hypocrisy because she mocked praying in school. Well, guess what? Someone found some of her old tweets begging for prayers. That's right, begging for prayers for Steve Scalise. And it was noble of her at that time. Well, circle jerk, circle back, Jen Psaki, I think she can go to hell too, because she mocked people who were murdered in cold blood, injured, shot in cold. Folks, apparently I haven't died from getting shot, but I've been shot. It fucking hurts. She thinks it's cute to say, praise, it's stupid, right? She was at the top of the Democrat Party. Jen Psaki's at the top of the Democrat Party. Understand who they are. This is who they are. Now, let's keep going with the stupid. You bet. Retarded Thursday, here we are. Cracker Barrel, that's right, been in the news lately, has decided to restore their logo to the old logo with the old man sitting next to a barrel. Old man cracker barrel, right? And they've also removed their Pride page from their website. Are you fooled? Have you been tricked? We all know the CEO is still there. She's waiting to put unigender bathrooms in place. She's waiting to sponsor drag queen snorri hour for 5-year-olds in Cracker Barrel locations. You know she wants to hold private parties for pedophiles, minor attracted persons in Cracker Barrel, once no one's paying attention. And to me, sorry, Cracker Barrel, you fucked up. And now you can be paid in spades with empty seats. And they still haven't apologized. Just putting the Cracker Barrel sign back up, you did not fucking apologize. You brought in a woke LGBTQP pedophile CEO, and now you're going to pay. And there's someone else who, folks, made the bad guys pay. Everyone, remember that line from Batman, one of the Batman movies? He's not the hero we needed, but he was the hero we deserved. Well, Florida man has raised his head again on high like a superhero. Florida man donned Batman pajamas. This big black guy was wearing Batman pajamas, and he detained a burglary suspect. And he says, of wearing the pajamas, the Batman pajamas, he says it gave him the extra confidence he needed. Well, whatever it takes for justice, folks. Florida man, you never know when he's going to strike and what side of the law he's going to be on. Good golly, folks. It's Thursday. Tomorrow is the Free for All Friday. Just wow. It's not going to get better, folks. Well, as long as we keep fighting, don't be afraid to speak up, even if what you think you're saying is crazy, because believe it or not, people out there are listening to you and they'll follow you. If you lead, they will follow. If you use critical thinking, right? Common sense, people will listen. So we've been saying, stand up, scream, yell, write, email, text, carrier pigeon, flaming arrow, message, send it, right? Whatever it takes. And it has an effect. The White House now says Trump is not going to give visas to Chinese students. 600,000 students. He won't do it, but he will give 600,000 visas over 2 years in a, quote, continuation of existing policy. So the existing policy, they're not going to get rid of the policy and get these fucking foreign students out of our schools. Every Chinese student is by nature and law in China a Chinese spy for the Chinese government against the United States of America. So our yelling made Trump remove that. Well, I'm not going to create 600,000 new Chinese students, but we're going to continue to do visas over the continuing existing policy. You can't get a straight answer. These fucking people are politicians and scumbags. But we need to keep the pressure up. You see what they do is they say something and we're like, not on my watch. And we need to do that. And then they change their mind and tell us, no, we're not doing that. But then they also do something else that's sneaky and shitty. We have to be ever vigilant and as loud as possible. That's how we can stop these freaks. Keep fighting back. Let's get to your comments and thoughts right now on the Prepared Mind channel. I had to get one more drink of the last of the coffee. Good to the last drop. All right, folks, welcome back. It is the, it's time for the inner circle. That's you guys. If you're here on the preparedmind.club, if you're a premium member at the preparedmind.club, you can be here Monday through Friday, live every day. Same with subscribestar.com. And also, all of our members on X. Let's do it. Mr. Uman, we got a great crowd out there, a big crowd, and we're going to do this. Uman says the Minnesota incident, meaning the self-mutilating transgender fucking idiot. The Minnesota incident and all the other incidents should be a call for constitutional carry, not gun control. Well, what is constitutional carry? For those who are new to the program and new to the concept, constitutional carry means the Second Amendment says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. In other words, bear arms means to carry arms, not brandishing them and pointing at people in their face, none of that, but bearing them, owning them, keeping them, carrying them. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And what is the proper use and application in self-defense? Well, stopping bank robberies, mass shootings, invasions by foreigners, right? All those things. Those are all good reasons. So the argument should be for that, because you never know where these left-wing communist self-mutilating fruitcakes are going to be with their guns, and they're the ones doing the killing. Not me, not you. No. It is the fruitcake community. I believe we're up to about a dozen mass murderers out of the LGBT pedo community that we know of. Okay, so anyways, Uman continues, says Gowdy, meaning Trey Gowdy, or lying sack of shit lawyer, former Congressman Trey Gowdy, who is now on news as a mouthpiece, who is now showing us he's not a Republican, but he's a sellout piece of shit. That Trey Gowdy is a shill with a big bark and, of course, no bite. Don't ever cheerlead for any politician is Uman's advice. I tell you what, it's hard, and I get it. It's hard because we all want someone to fix the problem, and as nobodies, we have no authority because we're not elected as a sheriff, we're not elected as a politician, local, elected state, elected federal. We're not president. We have no authority to fix problems. We only have the right in our own lives to protect ourselves, families, and others. And that's it. We can't go out and just arrest everyone that we think. We can't do it. So instead, we look to politicians that we elect and say, hey, do a good job. And then they say, I'm going to do a good job. And then you cheer for them, right? You root for them. You're like, yeah, that's my guy. He's going to fix things. And then they lie. They walk it back. They do a 180. And you're left standing here. You got your dick in your hand. And you're like, what the fuck happened? Trey Gowdy was one of them. Smart. No doubt. He's a fucking sellout and a coward. He's a weakling. Just like Jim Jordan, Congressman Jim Jordan. Smart. Sellout. Loser. All bark, no bite. Points at everyone in Congress who's a criminal and then does nothing about it. Fucking loser. All of them. Same with the Senate. Oh, boy, down in Mexico today, though, I don't know if you're aware of this, Uman. Down in Mexico today, in their Senate, guess what happened? They had some fisticuffs. That right there, that's political discourse, right? They got in a big pushing, shoving match and some punches thrown in the Mexican Senate. Over what? Arguing over whether or not the Sinaloa and drug cartels are buying, influence, and controlling politicians. Once again, someone like Trey Gowdy, someone like Jim Jordan. I'm going to pick on them since I already have. How about Light and the Loafers, Lindsey Graham? How about up Chuck Schumer? How about Nancy Pelosi? They're in it for the money, and they're willing to sell to the highest bidder. No, fuck it. They're willing to sell to every bidder, take everyone's money, and just do whatever they want. Because that's what they do. That's what they do. Uh-oh, Uman's got some more for us. He's on the ball today. He says, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. Does Sheinbaum sound Mexican to you? Does that sound like a Latin American surname? Or does that sound a little Jewish? Well, there you go. Take a look at her profile when she's standing in front of the sun, and you'll be fine. All right, I know I'm going to get myself in trouble for being such a critical guy. Anyways, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said Wednesday she would ask the United States to share the $15 billion it expects to extract from convicted Mexican drug lord Ismael El Mayo Zambada with Mexico's poor. Yeah, we're going to share it with Mexico's poor. Yeah, because the rich Mexican leadership in the political class are so good at sharing. They're every bit is fucked up. No, probably even more than American politicians. Yeah, she can. Yeah, Uman says she can start walking that way all the way until you fuck all the way off. So America has possession of the body, habeas corpus, right, of this Mexican drug lord who has $15 billion. Well, I think we ought to use that $15 billion to build the wall between America and Mexico. Remember when Trump wanted to build the wall in his first term? Oh, yeah, way back in the Wayback Machine. He was like, I need $10 million, $10 billion. They're like, nope, we're not going to give it to you. How about $8 billion? Like, nope, we're not going to give it to you. How about $5 billion? $5 billion to build the wall, to protect us from invaders and drugs and traffickers, and Congress was like, no. And then they finally passed and decided to give him a little bit of money. And then they started fighting in court over building the wall. This is $15 billion. Hey, we just got a drug lord to fund our entire wall. I tell you what, didn't Mexico say also, Mr. Uman? Didn't they say that they would be willing to pay for the wall also? Didn't Trump say he's going to make Mexico pay for the wall? This is how we do it. But let me tell you where the money's going to go. Because I am such an optimist and a comedian, right? He's going to give the $15 billion to Ukraine to help defend themselves from the Russians, right? There you go. And Ukraine, it will turn around and give $5 billion of that back to American politicians. I know I'm a cynic. Sorry about that. I can't help it, right? We need to fix something in America. Fuck it. Send the money overseas. And Germany, speaking of money overseas, and Germany was naming names. Germany named names. They put it out there of those who blew up the Nord Stream pipelines, the pipelines that were carrying Russian gas to Europe to help keep their standard of living high and the cost of living low. And the pipeline got blown up, and now they're getting, well, gas from America, gas from other places. Yeah, it's all a sham, folks. It's a fucking sham. How about there's 15 billion of us? Maybe Trump can send each of us Americans that pay taxes, send us a $5,000 rebate. You still waiting on yours, man? The $5,000 rebate for the Doge? Yeah, me too. How about you guys out there? Have you gotten your rebate checks? Yeah, fat fucking chance. Mr. Uman, who's up next? We've got a redneck roughneck. And he says they immediately claimed we shouldn't go after a part of the population for this shooting, all while bashing the part of the population that exercises their Second Amendment rights. Redneck roughneck, I have to criticize you. The word rights is to be spelled with a capital R. It is a proper noun. It is a gift from Almighty to us little human beings. Anyways, I couldn't agree with you more. They always go after a part of the population that they want to target so they can get everyone else to gang in on them. But no, we must be tolerant and accepting and supportive of transgender butt pirates, transgender scissors, right? All of these tranny freaks. They've been lied to, indoctrinated, and brainwashed. Oh, wait a moment. I think those words are extremely similar to the fruitcake transgender who killed children yesterday. He was indoctrinated in school. He was brainwashed, he said. Chin Music says, I heard he was devastated because he didn't make the Vikings cheerleading team. Right. Well, he's got a chin on him. He looks like fucking Thanos. Did anyone notice that? Right. He got a fucking giant ass chin. He looked like that dude from the movie where I can't even remember the name of the fucking movie. The guy looked like a lion. Anyways, yes. Vikings cheerleader. Did he have the moves? You know, all you got to do is have the moves. You got to be a real hardcore queer to wiggle your hips like that. And he didn't make it. That's right. Shooting was in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is the Minnesota Vikings with two flaming, and I mean flaming, folks. And I don't mean that because I think they're hot. I mean they're fucking flamers. They're cheerleaders. Quit supporting DEI, quit supporting woke, quit supporting critical race theory, quit supporting the Lincoln Project, quit supporting all of it, including the Democrats, so they go away. Coca-Cola, good, gone. Fuck you guys. Nike, good, gone. Dick's Sporting Goods, good, gone. Target, good, gone. Do it. Right? Do it. Okay. NFL, done. NBA, done. Women's NBA, done. Oh, wait a minute. Someone threw a green dildo out on the field last weekend from the NFL. I forgot about that one. So, I mean, you have to pretty much launch that thing out there. Yep, green dildo landed on the NFL's playing field. Thought that was great. I wonder if anyone had that on their bingo card in Vegas. Good stuff all the way around. But yeah, stop supporting woke. Cracker Barrel, done. Any company that sells fake meat, lab-grown meat, any company that puts mRNA crap, genetically modified crap, stop buying it. So we all need to start reading the food labels. And if it says contains genetically modified organic material, or fake or bugs, right? Write that shit down. Send that company an email and tell them to fuck off. Literally. They understand those words, folks. It doesn't go over their head. They get it. If you give them the big fucking bird and say, hey, fuck you people, not buying your shit because of this, and give them the reasons. Now, like President Trump and his 600,000 Chinese students, will they change their mind and fix things? Or will they pull a Cracker Barrel and go, oh, yeah, we're putting the sign back up, and just change the name of the bug parts and the fake drugs and everything? Right? They're fucking liars. We can't trust them. What we can do is fight while you can, right? You can't run and hide from these fucking people. They're into everything. Bill Gates knew you can't just go after one sector. You can't just do VAXs. No. You got to do more than just the VAXXX. You got to put it in the water. You got to put it in the food. You got to put it in the air. This piece of shit, Bill Gates, he needs to be handed over to the 11 countries that want him in jail. Same with Dr. Fauci. They need to be handed over. How can the United States of America expect the world to hand over and allow extradition of their criminals to us if we won't do the same with our human rights violating, genocidal fucking maniacs like Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci and half the fucking CDC and half the National Institutes of Health. Anyways, I guess I digress. Mr. Uman, what do we want to discuss next? And it's not about H. Lynn, who says, now the government wants mental health screening and medications in school, taking away parental rights. Well, of course, the government's here to help. Well, apparently, we have a mental health crisis in schools, and parents aren't doing their job by putting their kids on enough antidepressants, SSRIs, and they're not putting their kids on enough gender bender and puberty blockers. So what you need is the school to screen for mental health. And then they can, right, provide the drugs. Just like California wants to say, any adult can take any child to any doctor for any emergency, any medical needs. That makes sense because all of the schools have the best adults in them. They went and took a 6-week certification class. Oh, I know that's going to piss teachers off. I don't know how fucking long it takes to be a teacher. A couple of years. All you have to do is pick up the book, and it's got the fucking curriculum right there. It's got the homework. It's got the tests. What do teachers do that nobody else can do? They dye their hair different fucking colors. They wave communist flags in children's faces. They tell children it's okay to give blowjobs to old men, to have anal sex with old men. The female teachers out there are just as busy raping girls and boys for their own personal pleasure, all while trying to confuse them about their gender. They're groomers, folks. So yeah, we can trust them to do mental health screening, can't we? Once again, get your kids out of fucking public school. Get them out of there. Go around your neighborhood and find someone, anyone, who is qualified as a teacher and can be trusted with fucking children, right? And have a classroom set up. Someone in the neighborhood has got an extra bedroom in the house to set up a classroom. And every parent should have access to the cameras to both watch and listen to what the teacher is saying and the teacher is doing, as well as what the kids are saying and the kids are doing. So everyone's held accountable by the parents. Your kid fucks up, you're out. Psh. Teacher fucks up. Well, depending on what they did, they can go to jail or they're fired. But it's pretty simple. I think the answers are simple. We have the internet. The amount of information that's available readily has helped a guy like me make sure I talk about things as accurately as possible. Now, again, of course, I am partisan, folks. By partisan, I mean I believe what I believe because I believe it. Fuck. All right. Mr. Uman, who's up next? Again, Uman says, just imagine the outrage and the revenge coming if and when these guys wake up and realize what has been done to them. Uman, are you talking about the trannies? Yes, he says the trannies. Now, I'm going to share this old story with you guys one more time. And I've shared it in the past. A friend of mine in California, a very trustworthy friend of mine in California, is a nurse, a male nurse. He's in his 60s, and he is a recovery, surgery and ICU, right, trauma ward recovery nurse. And he told me, and there's no reason to lie to me. There's nothing to gain by lying to me. He said, without exception, in other words, he said every single time means without exception, he went to wake up a transgender surgery patient. They all ask the same question the moment they wake up. Did I do the right thing? Yeah, getting woken up from surgery is just not fun. It's like you were taking a nice coma on some fucking fine drugs. They wake you up. Well, these people wake up and they don't have a dick anymore. Whoops. Now they have their dick turned inside out, and it's a giant, disgusting mess. I don't even know how the fuck they do it, but go ahead and go ask the people that invented the notion. Did you do the right thing? And he says, it's not my job to tell you if you did the right thing. It's my job to help you through the recovery phase of your surgery while in the hospital. Every last one of them has regret. Instantly. But they have to keep lying to themselves. Psychology, folks. Read the psychology books. They lie to themselves. They tell themselves, I thought about this a long time. My teacher said it was a good idea. My family supported me. Other trannies supported me. Other fruitcakes supported me. Wait a minute. These are trannies, fruitcakes, and ding-dongs. Yeah. Whoops. You might be listening to the wrong people. Do you think any person who goes and gets transgender surgery, do you think they go see a psychologist and find one that would disagree with it and spend any time listening to what a psychologist who does not agree with transgenderism would have to say? Oh, they're out there, folks. They're out there. Do you think they're going to sit in that chair for one fucking minute while Dr. Fraud, or rather Dr. Non-Fraud, says, why do you want to do that? What do you hope to gain? These people are unhappy as fuck. Unhappy. They're unhappy with their looks, their life, their success, whatever. And so they seek to find happiness. And they know that everybody that's a tranny, guess what? Everyone loves them. They're cool. They get support. They get gender affirming care. They get drugs. Oh my God, they feel so good. But they always hate themselves. They hated themselves, which is why they do it. They were unhappy, which is why they do it. And then, yeah, there's fucking regret. But a lot of them, because they're taking SSRIs, which are clinically proven, understood, and it's established, that they become homicidal, suicidal. And I'm going to take you right back to yesterday's mass murdering piece of shit who said he fantasized about murder. Once again, you're unhappy with yourself. You want to feel good. You need something good in your life. You got nothing because you're a transgender Democrat fucking moron. So you fantasize about things that could make you happy, and they feel better about themselves. So they want that new high. Oh, they regret the fuck out of everything, and they're going to punish everyone else for it. Ooh, man, who's next on the Prepared Mind channel? You got the armchair John psychologist. He says, hey, what makes these demon rats suddenly think they can't be fired? Forced resignation of all government and constitutional restart is all we have left. Yeah. Let's go back to your first comment there, Redneck. These are great. What makes these demon rats think suddenly they can't be fired? Because they haven't been fired. Because they know all the other Democrats and all the other Republicans are lying, cheating, stealing, committing fraud, extortion, bribery, drugs, pedophilia, etc. They're like, well, if they're not going to get fired, you can't fire me. So, right? So the crazy, lunatic, idiotic woman who's on the Fed board thinks, I'm just going to claim black woman privilege and you can't fire me. She didn't deny it, right? She's in there saying you can't fire me, but she's not saying I didn't do it. That's why they think they can't be fired, because everyone else is just as guilty as they are. So let's go to the next one again, Redneck Roughneck, whose commentary goes right to where we need to go. Forceful resignation. I don't have the authority to force them out. Neither do you, Redneck. Ooh, man doesn't. None of us do. Even the president is like, I'm the fucking president. I'm the executive. I can't fire people. The courts are stopping it, right? Resignation of all government. I would love to see a constitutional restart. It's the only way we, the American people, can be assured of some semblance of respect for our rights and some semblance of restraint on the government if we did a full restart. But we can't. We're 250 years into the mess we're in. We're 150 years into the post-Civil War bullshit, and no government is going to accept, especially from us peasants, pissants. They won't accept from us a call to do a constitutional reset and get rid of those libraries of books and replace it with one thin little book called the U.S. Constitution. You see, they can't tell us what to do with this book. It's tiny. It's cute and small. This is the rules for our country. But they created an entire fucking library full of rules, regulations, statutes. The president uses executive orders so that they have all of this authority they've manufactured for themselves, instead of operating within the framework we told them we would like them to be restricted to. That's all we have left, folks. Voting's not working. We tried it. We've tried it for my whole life. The only good thing that I think ever actually happened was in California when I was a kid, back in the mid-1970s. They did a referendum, Proposition 13, which stopped the state government and county governments and local governments from raising people's property taxes ever. Well, except for the fact that they'll just go out and take out more bonds and add that onto your property tax. But still, they couldn't reassess people's property. They can raise taxes, but they can't reassess the property. And these fucking people, they're all a bunch of sick fucks in government. Forceful resignation, redneck roughneck. When the party starts, I'll be there with my banjo. Okay, Mr. Uman, where are we rolling next? I know we've got lots of stuff to talk about. We've got the current news and everything else, but not a bot. Says, we know most of our government is the enemy. Who's the puppet masters? I've been quizzed. Well, it's the best way to get answers to questions is to ask questions. Who is the puppet masters? Who makes the most money off of us, the people? Well, the government, but the government works for us, right? But where does the money go? Right? Okay, well, that money gets spent back into the economy and it gets shipped off to countries like Ukraine. Is Ukraine our masters? No. Who wants us to fight in Ukraine? Europe. Are Europe our masters? No. Who controls Europe? Are you ready for this? The bankers. We send money to Israel. Israel acts like they're our masters, but it is truly the bankers who are our masters. They have the money. They have printing presses. They can counterfeit all they want. They don't have to dig up an ounce of gold or silver or copper. No, they don't have to do any of that. They don't have to farm, produce, manufacture anything. All they do is type into a keyboard numerical digits, transfer that into someone's account and say, I just made you rich. You are now my bitch. Now, understand, I said Israel is not our masters. But the bankers are telling all the countries to obey Israel. That's what the Ukraine war is about. That's what all of this is about. You want to know who your masters are? You want to know who the government's masters are? Who are you not allowed to criticize? There you have it. You're not allowed to criticize homosexuals. No, you're not supposed to anyways. You're not supposed to call them pejorative names like faggot, queer, even though the LGBTQ stands for queer. They added it themselves. Why not just put the F in there? Right? You're not allowed to criticize them. Well, who do they belong to? Right? Where does that community come from? Once again, Talmudic Judaism. Those are our masters, folks. That's who the government masters are, anyways. Well, I'm going to call it quits for today. I need some dinner. I need a big, tall scotch. And I want to thank you for being here with me. Man says that brain trust Governor Prickster of Illinois now has billboard trucks circling around Trump Tower in Chicago saying, don't come to Chicago. It doesn't matter what Governor Prickster wants. Trump is going to do what he wants. Chicago and Illinois tax dollars are hard at work, being absolutely worthless, just like Democrats, offering a feel-good moment instead of actual genuine solutions. Don't worry, folks. We're going to continue to criticize everybody on all sides. Hell, if I fuck up, I'll even criticize myself. Anyways, I love you all. You're awesome. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. And the merchandise right there. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? That was a good cup of coffee. I'll see you guys tomorrow.